everybody, welcome to another Broken Meeple Express review, and if you like what you see, remember to leave a thumbs up and a comment on the video, because I like to engage with my community, and if you want to help support the channel a little bit more, check out the Patreon page and subscribe for as little as you need. So today we're looking at Seven Wonders Architects, which has come out with surprisingly little buzz compared to a lot of other games this year. Everybody seems to be really hyped up about the big meaty Euro game, and these light games tend to go by the wayside. But I was intrigued by this. Granted, I love Seven Wonders, so there's definitely a little bit of bias there, but I was still a little skeptical because I thought, a spin-off to this game? Spin-offs are a little bit more on the finicky side, although Seven Wonders Duel, yeah, that proved me wrong on that point. So I was still keen to get into this and see what it was all about. First impressions were that it was a very simple version of Seven Wonders, almost like a gateway spin-off. Question is it that? And is it even worth considering whether you own the original Seven Wonders or not? So the rules of this game are very simple, but crazy simple. I mean, this is literally your rulebook. Your rulebook is a 6-page spread, and some of that is just the title page, a 2-player variant, and a scoring example or something. You are pretty much reading these 3 pages for your rules, and they're dirt simple. In fact, I'm kind of ashamed that I read this so fast the first time that I actually got a rule wrong about discarding cards. And it's like, oh, sorry guys, we need to reset. Sorry, I underestimated what I should be reading and I made a mistake.
Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
Honestly, that is entirely on me. The rules to this are so simple. Spend a good 5 minutes reading this rulebook and you're away. I mean, you could pick up and play this in no time. Straightforward. But what you're essentially doing is you are building your wonders much like in Seven Wonders, you know, go figure, it is in the title. But the way this works is not by drafting, unlike the previous one. Here instead you have a deck of cards. You essentially choose a wonder which comes in these fantastically packaged like sort of cases with clip-on lids and, you know, trays to hold your cards and little wonder pieces. Really cool this is. This is why the box is this big though. But what you do is you take your deck of cards and you put it to the left of you, in between you and your neighbour. Think between two cities if you've ever played that game. And so you've done this, so's a neighbour, so let's assume this is a 3-player thing here. There's my tray, there's player 2's tray, there's player 3's tray. So you've got a tray to either side of you and there's a communal deck in the middle. Your turn is literally choose a card. Left, right or centre. Top deck or one of the ones that are face up on your neighbouring tiles. So you know what you're going to get from the side. You don't know what you're getting from the middle necessarily. That's your turn. Wow, crazy simple already, isn't it? But the idea is that depending on what card you take, much like in Seven Wonders, the different colours do different things, and your basic goal is to build your wonder. Now, there are other ways to score points, so it's not essential that you build your wonder, but building your wonder first does get you some points in that regard, and that could be one of your strategies for the game. But the cards that you've got are very much like they were in Seven Wonders. So if you have a resource card or a gold card, that's effectively what you need to build the wonder. Resources are just straight up resources and the gold is a wild resource. Nice and simple. You've then got the green cards, which function a bit like the Seven Wonders Duel version actually. You collect the symbols, and if you get 3 symbols or 2 identical, you get to take a progress token, which is essentially some cool ability you have for the rest of the game. It's exactly like the Seven Wonders Duel version of the progress tokens, but there's no immediate victory condition for those. The blue cards, if I can find one, doesn't seem to be that, here we go. Blue cards are just straight up victory points as always, but the cool thing with this is that you now have this cat token, the cat statue, which is like, oh, the cute little kitty, love a kitty. I'm obsessed with cats. But not only is this worth 2 points if you hold it at the end of the game, but the main reason to have it is that with the cat symbol, you take it and you can look at the top card of this communal deck before you choose a card. Pretty handy ability. And finally, the red cards. Red cards are shields, so you do have a conflict phase in this game, but it's not at the end of a round. There are no rounds in this game. Essentially what you do is you build this up, and some of them have horns on them. And when you get a card with a horn on it, you flip over one of the peace tokens to its conflict side. Once they're all flipped to conflict, everybody fights their neighbour. Standard rule, compare the shields, highest gets a 3-point token, and there's no negatives. And then the idea with this though is that when you build a wonder, you discard the resources that you used to build it. That's the rule I got wrong in my first game. But in the shield case and the science symbols, you discard whichever symbols you used in order to get the progress token, and you discard the cards with horns on them for the purposes of conflict. So some shields stick around longer than others. That's pretty much every single rule in this game that I've done in that little overview there. This is definitely what it says on the backs. gateway, well, it doesn't say on the box, but you get what I'm saying. A gateway version of Seven Wonders. Now, does that mean it's not as fun? Well, if I'm being honest, compared to me playing Seven Wonders with the expansions, bear in mind this was my number 11 in my top 100 recently, I would prefer to play Seven Wonders with the expansions over this. But I've actually enjoyed my time with this. It is just a good, almost relaxing, simple game. And you know what? I'm getting bored with all these massive Euros at the moment. I mean, not bored as in I don't want to play them, but I have just literally gone through Golem, Messina, Boon Lake, and what was the other one? And Batoku. I've gone through all 4 of those. All of them like 2.5 to 3 hour big heavy Euros. Which was kind of like, oh, this is what Essen's talking about. I barely saw any buzz for this. Now granted, Repos Production were not at Essen, but even so, I've still heard very little buzz about this game. And it's like, it's probably too light for most gamers. Come on, can we not have some light games every now and again? But this is cool. I mean, people might think, oh, this is a big box for such a light game. Yeah, but you get a bucket load of these trays. You get 7 of these, as well as a big tray to hold the tokens and the communal cards. And this is such a cool thing that just makes setup a breeze. You literally just give players one of these, they take it off, put the tray out, take the wonder pieces out, done. Game set up. Oh, there's a communal deck. Literally, that's it. You are set up with this game in barely 60 seconds. You can explain the rules in about 2 minutes tops, and then you get away. Now, the game itself depends on player count, however, in terms of how short it is. The same flaws I have with Seven Wonders, yes, it's my 11th favourite game, but I still think no game is perfect, but the flaws I have with Seven Wonders are repeated here, and here it's kind of more prominent. Firstly, with Seven Wonders, yes, you can play it with 7 players, but, as Jeff Goldblum will tell us...
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Exactly. Just because you can do it with that doesn't mean you should. Because the problem is that with 7 players and Seven Wonders, you don't care about anybody other than your 2 neighbours. To a lesser extent, I care about a 4th player, so I tend to cap Seven Wonders at 4 players when I play it. But 5, 6, and 7, you just lose any care, the fact that there's extra people there, and all they do is elongate the time, because more people have to think about their cards. Well, the same thing happens here, but bearing in mind, this is not a simultaneous drafting game, this is a turn order system. So the turns are super duper quick. I mean, I've literally got to pick one of 3 cards. It's not difficult. You know, your turn is elongated slightly if you need to take a science token or build a wonder step and trigger your special ability. Yeah, did I mention that all the wonders have got a special ability on them which triggers with wonder stages? Yep, each one's unique in that regard. But with this, because it is turn order, you are waiting for it to come back round to you. Now in 3 or 4 players, or even 2 in fact, this game does have a 2-player slight variant in it, but actually it works fairly well. But the problem is, 5, 6, 7 players. Alright, I've taken my quick turn. Yeah, it's still going to take its time to come back round to you, and if you do find somebody who somehow manages to engage with analysis paralysis in this game, it will just make things slightly worse. But honestly, I don't know how you can go to analysis paralysis in this game. It's too simple for that. But bear in mind you are teaching gateway gamers though. And linking on to that, what I said about not caring about your other people other than your neighbours, it's the same case here. Again, I would cap this at 4 players really. Yes, you can play at 7 and it will work fine at 7, but it's best capped at 4. I really do care what my neighbours are doing because they are influencing the card decks I can pick from. I do sort of care about the 4th player though, because that 4th player is influencing what my 2 neighbours are doing and what they might pick from that player. They might not necessarily pick the card that I want from my deck. So the 4th player does have probably a little bit more use in this game than it does in Seven Wonders. But again, 5, 6, 7, who cares? There is just no point. Other than the fact that they can trigger these tokens for conflict, that's literally the only purpose they have. So yes, you can play it with more, but honestly, I just don't really care that much that you can. So, aesthetics, gorgeous. The artwork is beautiful as always on these cards. The cards are actually a pretty nice, like, thick, glossy. The glossiness, I don't know. I'm a little bit hit and miss on that kind of thing. But they are pretty good quality cards. You can sleeve them, and they should still fit in these trays because there's more than enough room in here for them. Although, that kind of gets a little bit problematic when you take the big tray because the big tray can just about fit all the tokens that you've got in it. It only just fits one deck of cards for the communal deck in here. And it's easy to get it out. It's got a nice little system in there. But if I sleeve these, they're going to take up this deck and this bit, and then I've got to somehow squeeze the tokens into here. There may be room in the box to kind of squeeze things around, like maybe put a baggie of some tokens on top. I'm pretty certain that if I sleeve this game, I'll be able to fit it all in the box, but yeah, just bear that in mind. But honestly, you don't desperately need to sleeve it. I think it's pretty good quality to stand the test of time, although you are going to be playing it often because each game is around a 30-minute mark. 30 to 45 minutes, absolute tops, when you've got lots of players and somebody's APing. Yes, you've got to discard resources and that as you go along, so you've got to collect them again, but because the turns are so fast, you should be able to speed through this quick. It says 25 minutes, I think, on BoardGameGeek. With 2 players, that's not unfeasible, to be perfectly frank. Now, does it work at 2? I think so. There is a tiny little 2-player game variant in the rules, and literally the only thing that changes is that when you resolve these conflicts, you essentially compare your shields with the opponent, and if you win, you get a token, but if you win by more than double, you get 2 tokens. A minor change, but pretty straightforward, and it means that this game can actually work as a back and forth 2-player. Granted, I would much rather play 7 Wonders Duel if you're talking about a 2-player version of 7 Wonders, but if you want something dirt simple and 7 Wonders Duel is a little bit too meaty, a little bit too heavy for you, then this could be a good alternative, because I would much rather play this in 2-player than normal 7 Wonders in 2-player. So I think most people would agree on that one for a kickoff. So in summary, this is a good, solid gateway game. It's decent fun, there's some interesting choices to make, it's not going to burn your brain at all, it's nice and light, pretty fluffy, it's just a very simple kind of point game of action selection, really. You're not drafting cards, you're essentially picking which action you want to do out of the 3 choices that you have, or the 3 cards that you have to choose from, and you go from there. You've got some interaction with other players, but of course subject to the limitations I mentioned already, but it looks gorgeous, it is well produced, these stack in the box really nicely, and even though you have to put a sticker on the front of these, it's permanently there, and it's easy to tell which box belongs to which player and which wonder. I've got 7 of them with a slightly different ability for each. There's a decent amount of replay value there. For the fairly low cost that it is, I don't think this game's selling for more than £30, 35 absolute tops. It's a pretty neat little addition. I'm definitely going to hang on to this one because I don't believe 7 Wonders is a gateway game. People will disagree with me on this, but I don't think it's gateway level. There's just too much going on in 7 Wonders. Simultaneous drafting, all the different types of cards, all the different iconography and how you've got to plan for age 3 from age 1. Too much for a gateway gamer. It's a light game, but come on, let's be realistic here, people. This, though, is quintessentially gateway level. You want to get people into the 7 Wonders style of games? Start with this one. Get them into this, get them used to the idea of having the different civs and different cards and how red and blue and green work, then progress to 7 Wonders and 7 Wonders Duel from there. And I think it'll work quite well. So I was afraid that this game was going to kind of like not be that interesting or just be a wasted spin-off, but no, I'm pleased to say this is definitely worth your time. Now, it's not going to be one that you're going to play over and over again, like repeatedly, and it's certainly only got so much variety in the game, so it's not quite up to the upper echelons of like 7 Wonders, but I still think this is pretty solid. So I'm giving 7 Wonders Architects a great 8 out of 10 seal of endorsement. Definitely give this one a look if you're a 7 Wonders fan. Definitely give this one a look if you want a very interesting, light gateway game that you could teach to just about anybody on the planet. It's that simple. And yeah, spend a little bit more time reading the rules than I did on your first game and you won't have problems. Trust me, if you get that discard rule wrong, you will unbalance the game like crazy. But that's my fault, not the rulebook. The rulebook is perfectly simple to understand. So that's it for me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, please remember to leave a thumbs up and comment on the video. Are you a lover or a hater of 7 Wonders? Are you interested in this spin-off? Do you think it's a cash grab? Do you tend to play any of the games at 2 players? Obviously 7 Wonders Duel, go figure, but what about the original and this one indeed? So let me know your thoughts, I'd be keen to engage with you. If you want to check out more content on the channel, then my top 100 has been going swimmingly. You can check out the finale here to find out my 10 favourite games, or if you want to hear my thoughts on the previous 7 Wonders, you can find it out in the 20 to 11 segment down below. Take care, and remember as always, it's only a game. Bye for now.